Chat, here we go. We got ourselves a random car 1v1. I talked to Toxiic and Rezears about playing a match, and they were interested. And Rezears, last time he played against Nupo, I think he went to the random car first, and then Nupo matched him in the random car. But Rezears apparently has a lot of interest in working other cars, and he's going to miss the first free goal of today. But we're going to go ahead and just blame it on the fact he's using a car that he's not used to. I think Flakes would be the master of the random car meta. Toxic's just slowly rolling this one in. What do we have here? What do we have here? What is this? You guys know this is like a big old Merc. And this is the Ford car, right? Honestly, I don't know. I always forget. It's not one of the main three. I know everyone thought this one was going to be sick, right? But then it turned out to be too small. Rezears headed to the ceiling. Toxiic and Rezears actually haven't played in a while. I went back and looked. I think the last time they played was as a part of the original Fear Fest, not even the most recent Fear Fest. Oh, Toxiic still has his flicks. Turns out that Toxiic still has his flicks, even when he's playing with this Merc-like car, as he slots it top right. Is Zen versus Dan also with random cars? I don't expect it to be. If for some reason they start randomizing their cars, that's of course up to them. You can do whatever you want in your effort to win. But the Daniel versus Zen one will be a crossover of the two winners of Ranked Royale. Can we lower the chat cooldown? The chat cooldown that is active today is a bit in preparation. Not sure how many moderators we'll have, but usually a match with the likes of Daniel and Zen, you get a little out of hand. So just as a precautionary measure, slow mode is on. Mods can do whatever they want, though. If they're feeling confident, they could, of course, turn it down. Rezears finally getting on the board. I would think that if I had to pick one of the two players who would play better in a random car 1v1, I do think it would be Toxiic. I feel like Toxic's playstyle plays into not needing to rely on perfect mechanics and, you know, precise touches. He plays a very smart 1v1 game, and Rezears plays a 1v1 game more like this. The problem is he seems to be just fine. It doesn't seem to affect him at all. I would think that it would, but pretty clearly he still has his mechanics. I guess he did ultimately not finish that play, so maybe that's an example. Toxiic gonna counterattack. Daniel versus Zen will be starting in about exactly 1 hour. Toxiic baiting Rezears in. Actually, a pretty nifty first touch. I feel like he could have controlled it and tried to follow it up with 2 touches, but instead he looked for an immediate flip to pop the ball in, which was definitely going to get it there faster. I'm not sure he needed to go that fast. Rezears, nice flick here. Jumps, turns around for the backflip flick. We saw Nugget trying to do this a lot in the Ranked Royale. Toxiic and Rezears set to be teammates, by the way. Rezears and Toxiic, both of them made every regional. I want to say they might have made every regional. I don't think Suh missed one. Toxiic played with Suh alongside Mike Boy and I'm blanking. I streamed some of their games, but for some reason I'm blanking on the third. And Rezears playing with Tundra. Tho? Mike Boy and Tho, yeah. That makes sense. Rezears is now going to be playing with Toxiic. Toxiic is coming in to replace... I forget who. I forget all the exact details. But I do know that Toxiic is on. And Rezears and Toxiic will now be teammates. For a long time, they've been around the same place in the 1v1 ranked ladder. I shouldn't really say ladder, but the show match ladder. I'd say they've been around the top 5 range for EU. Rezears and Toxiic both have spent time probably even higher than that. But I imagine that's where they reside right now if I were to think it through. Casio replaced. Rezears! Oh my goodness, I thought for a second he was going to own goal, but maybe he was intentionally setting up a post pinch. Once we get to the day where players are really setting that up and having success with it, that's when we'll know we're still nowhere near the peak. You'll never be near the peak of skill, but certainly that's something nobody's trying to do right now. Actively set up full field pinches off their own post. A little reset for Rezears. Still can't get past Toxic's defense. And it's obviously because he has a massive car, although he does do it this time. Toxic throws in the nice one. This beast of a vehicle still wasn't big enough. Did that have anything to do with this matchup, or are they just looking to play? I think it probably slightly did. I was reaching out to players to see if we could get a second match for today. And I reached out to them both at the same time, planning on asking them to play each other. But then they mentioned they were already in voice chat. And they said, yeah, let's do it. I actually didn't even tell them which opponent. And they said, give us each other. All right, great. That was my plan anyways, because I hadn't seen you guys play in a while. And these are two top EU players. Toxic launching a flick to the back wall. 1 goal lead right now with 46 seconds. He should be able to continue maintaining possession. Just gonna keep throwing flick after flick. This one a bit weak. Now it's Rezears going the full way. Does Toxic's car have a... Oh, the Pogo actually ended up getting saved. It's gonna work out. The Pogo didn't do what he wanted it to. But he actually ended up getting a decent shot of it, just flopping to the ground. Got back to the ball before Toxic. Do they get to randomize the car each game? Yes, they mentioned that they'll be resetting the car between every game. So is Toxic's car a Merc? Do you guys know, or is it an Octane? Because Rezears has an Octane hitbox, so in theory, a lot of his mechanics should feel natural. But if Toxic's car is a Merc, which it certainly looks like it should be, then everything's going to be slightly different for him. Rezears full field dribble at 0 seconds. Lets it fall to the ground. 50s with Toxic, who is going to try and keep it up. Can he launch a flick? Maybe if he was in his regular car. Rezears, he knows he has a boost advantage, so he's going to keep the ball in the air. Now he's attacking the other way. Toxic, late recovery. Ooh, Rezears actually might have scored if it weren't for it being 0 seconds. I think Toxic jumped over the top of that. But it hits the ground. It's honestly a good decision by Toxic to play his defense slightly higher because... Oh! I thought for a second... I got switched up. I thought Toxic was own goaling. He was not own goaling. He was winning the kickoff. I think I'm going to blame... I don't know what to blame. But either way, Toxic's going to win game number 1. These guys are out of the match. They're going to go randomize the car. Be back for game number 2. Oh my goodness. I think the worst part about random cars is the engine noise. But we got Jester, Rezears, and I'm not even going to try. I'm not even trying to pretend like I know any of the names of these cars. But I do think that the randomize has been edited slightly to give you like color themes. Because Toxic's blue color theme that he's got going on here, I swear, should never be able to happen on complete random accident. All right, chat, do you guys know these flags? We had a tough time the last time we tried to name the flags. I must say, I don't think I can name either. Rezears heading back to his back corner. I don't think we've seen a ton of aerial game from Toxic so far. Rezears is going to make it stay that way as he turns to dive, gets himself demoed. So now it'll be... Well, is that Australia, really? There's like an extra thing on it, though. Is that... What's the thing on the right? I feel like I recognize that, but not without an additional box or something. Rezears catches Toxic off guard with this reset. Toxic pre-jumping, decides to go back down to the ground, but maybe he didn't even recognize that Rezears had a reset because he's forced to challenge if he had known. Instead, let's Rezears get past him. Rezears should be able to get a kickoff goal. Ooh, Toxic, nice save. Makes it back to save it off the post. And Rezears the follow-up. Still a 2-1 lead. I think the game almost sounds different to me right now because there's no standard octane car engine noise. Because I feel like when you're watching the game, you pretty much always have that in the background. Whatever these car engine noise is not the same, as well as the boost too. Rezears trying to get a pogo in whatever this is. The Jester car. He was definitely one of the better pogoers. I've been thinking about trying to get Zapatos versus Dark. Would you guys want to see a Zapatos versus Dark Pogo only 1v1? I know we've done the Pogo only 1v1 already, but Zapatos is pretty good at them, and the only problem is he's US West. But if we have Zapatos in Dark play, I think that's really the only way that makes sense. Just have him do a Pogo only 1v1 so that the ultra lag doesn't even hurt the game. Instead, maybe it just helps because goals go in a bit more often. Ooh, Toxic wall dashing to get to this ball before Rezears. Can he get it on target? He can. So it'll be a tie game. Yeah, that flag looks right. Yeah, Timothy, that looks like exactly the one. What if you just got not to? What up, Gomb? These guys wanted to play a random car 1v1, so that's what it's going to be today. Toxic's trying to get his aerial game involved. Rezears has been going for it all day. I'm guessing they both are Indominus cars. They're both pretty low to the ground. I'm surprised at how many cars are Octane, though. The number of times I've guessed any other preset or any other hitbox, and then it's always just Octane. Nexus is a breakout. Oh, okay. That makes sense. Rezears. Air dribbling into Toxic. I don't even know half the cars in this game. I think I know way less than half. Did you see the first touch? The first touch quiz thing? What do they call it? First class? They had a question that was how many cars are in the game. I'm pretty sure the answer was like 110. So I bet you I know 10% of them. You know, I probably know 10 cars. Like 10 of the originals. And I don't know, maybe a couple of Batmobiles since those are pretty clear. So maybe more than 10%, but I would not in a million years bet that I know 50%. That's for sure. Bit of a stalemate in this game. 2-2. Rezears must be pretty low on boost if he's willing to track all the way out to that distance in order to pick up pads. Toxic's going to fully retreat. Ask them to use the battle bus. You know what I'm really disappointed in is there was a Fortnite event, right, where you could get the battle bus. Toxic's just going to launch this to punish Rezears for moving too close into the corner without actually challenging. But there was an event when Fortnite and Rocket League combined under Epic or whatever, and you could get a battle bus, but you had to do some challenges. You had to do challenges in a row. And I never did them because I barely played the game around that time. I was already streaming a ton. And so I never got the battle bus. Like, when am I ever going to get another chance? Hopefully they bring it back at some point. Toxic flicks this one to the ceiling because that's the only thing stopping me from using the battle bus every single game. Obviously, I would use battle bus in every single one of my ranked games if I just had it, but unfortunately I don't. Is the Zen versus Daniel match part of the Ranked Royale? It is, in the sense that Bacchus donated $500 in order to have the two winners play against each other. So that is the reason why it's happening. Meaning if someone else had won, you know, it might be a slightly different match. So I would say, yes, it is part of the Ranked Royale. But it is courtesy of Bacchus, so you really should thank him when you see him in chat, which isn't hard to do. It's easy to find Bacchus whenever he's in a... or whenever you're in a 1v1 chat. He's probably going to be there. Rezears almost just peaked with that car. The problem is he needed to do more than just peak because he needed to go quickly and then he needed to kick off too. But I guess if that one had been in top right, he might have been okay. Toxic's going to take it a trip around the map and go up 2-0 in the random car 1v1. Making me seem right so far. I mean, Toxic might have won anyways, even in regular cars, but I do think it slightly favors him. What is this? What is this engine sound? The antenna is also dead center, which I feel like I heard them say something about that, how it can move now, or certain cars have it dead center. What is this engine sound? Is it like cricket? Like, is it bugs? I don't understand. Whatever it is, it's working. Wait, I think I know this car. I should know this. This is the Venom, right? This is one of the original cars. Who do you guys like better? Rezears' car or Toxic's car? One in chat if you like the Venom and the neon yellow wheels more. Two's in chat if you like Rezears' car. Yeah, a lot of ones. A lot of ones. Understandable. Venom is like a playable car in the first place, and it's also not atrocious to listen to. Oh, wait, here's two's flowing in. What is this sound? Also, Rezears is playing different camera settings. Is that true? I might ask him. It seems like he's playing really high up. Maybe that's just because Toxic is playing lower. Or because this car is so low profile. I can't really ask him. I can't ask him and have him respond in time, but I think he's playing different camera settings if I had to guess. Venom for the Fasho Kid stands. Fasho Kid was on Twitter a lot, right? I remember really liking his Twitter content. Toxic. I thought he might have hookshot it a bit too high. Takes the ball away from Rezears. Oh, I can't even watch on Rezears' perspective. It's such a ridiculous sound. Oh, it's so peaceful here when we watch from Toxic's side. And every time Rezears gets close. Yo, Anonymous, thank you for the $200 donation. You can mention who you are in chat. Something about this sometimes leads to people just anonymously donating more than they realize. But I mentioned I'd hop back in stream someday soon, and I'm so happy to see you getting the growth you deserve. Add this to the prize pool for Zen versus Daniel. It's $700 Zen versus Daniel prize pool. Absolutely insane. Please reveal yourself, Anonymous. You said you'd be back, and now you donated anonymously. Oh, RJC! Okay, I definitely believe it. I definitely believe it if it's RJC. Good to have you back, bud. Everybody, please Drake in chat for RJC because he made this channel what it is today. If you've enjoyed watching Rocket League on this channel, you probably found out about it in part because of RJC. So please give him the respect he deserves. He gave me a huge prize pool for my first big match that got me Daniel versus AJ. I had never talked to anybody but Daniel before because I had interacted with Daniel before he was like one of the best in the world. And then he slowly became one of the best in the world, but I still didn't, you know, have any contacts with anybody else. RJC said, I'll give you $500 to use as bait to go grab the best possible game you can. And that got me in touch with AJ and got me my first big video on YouTube. And I think that's the reason why you guys maybe know about me now. So definitely a W for RJC. And now he's back to add to Daniel versus Zen. Great to have him back. I can't watch from Rezears' perspective. I keep trying to switch to it, but it's so annoying. He might not have gotten that reset. This definitely seems like he should have used it. That was actually kind of an interesting psycho back wall clear. Rezears slams the shot top left. I can't. When the game quiets down, it's just Rezears not really driving. No one's using boost or jumping, and you just hear the car. The beautiful sounds of the car. Also, Toxic's boost sounds kind of weird, too. They need to give me a make everything sound like standard boost option. Make everybody's engine car noise the same. Rezears leaning back into the resets. He does such a good job of this where it almost looks like he's losing the ball or making it fall into a position that's actually challengeable. But that last little touch to both pop the ball, distance himself from the ball so he could flip back into it and get the outplay. It's just fun to watch. Rezears doing it even in whatever this car is supposed to be. But it's a 4-2 lead for Toxic. Thank you for the tier 1 for D Great Steven. From D Great Steven. Someone at Psyonix got paid to design these sounds. Hey, you never know. At the end of the day, there's lots of Rocket League users who aren't us, who maybe love all the silly little sounds, and it makes them hop back on the game when they otherwise wouldn't have, and that's what I want. So if that's what they need, glad they made them. Toxic trying to pop off here with 45 seconds left to go. Rezears going to redirect it off his own backboard. He's got 58 boosts to work with in 30 seconds. He needs something quick. The air dribble bump will probably do it because Toxic's not coming back down to the ground. Not before the goal goes in. And now 32 seconds and 2 goals. 15 seconds per kickoff is really, it's barely even a kickoff goal. I mean, you can win possession and hold on to it for a bit and eventually score. Can take only 15 seconds. The problem is Toxic has been winning a good amount of the kickoffs. He misses this double though, and if Rezears gets the boost steal, and he has this attack he needs, has to score on this attempt, and the first touch may be a bit too strong. Couldn't get down and pogo it. Toxic might have just handed the goal over though. Rezears sends the ball too high and misses on the double. That was the end of the game most likely, as he needed that goal, though he is quick back to bring the ball on target. That'll be it. A Toxic sweep over Rezears. The random car 1v1 goes in favor of the Englishmen, but the new teammates throw each other some GGs, as this was still a solid matchup.